The Skol chant for 3-1. Let's go. The Vikings are 3-1. Good evening and welcome into the Skol Purple podcast. And as you can see, this is not Larry from Bears Talk Underground. It's my boy Rap. And Rap, it's good to always talk with you, man. And filling in was Larry's not feeling so well tonight, so hopefully we'll get to talk with him on Thursday. But Rap, it's good to have you here, man. How you feeling?
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Appreciate having me on tonight. Listen, I am not representing the Bears, man. Let's just let your people know that right now. That's not
That's
the
right.
type of party. You hear me?
That's right. Breaking news: Rap is not a Bears fan. Very good. Yeah, it's good to be with you all tonight. Looking forward to talking Vikings. Make sure to get your comments in. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And of course, subscribe if you're not already to Rap's channel. That is the Purple Pocket podcast. So make sure to do that as well. We got our first commenter. It's Grandizer in the building. Let's go, Vikings.
Grandizer.
Get pumped.
What's
Yes,
up,
sir.
Grandizer, my boy?
How's it going, man? Good to have you in here. Good to have you in here, man. I'm looking forward to hearing more of your comments and thoughts going forward here. So, but yeah, Rap, how'd you feel about the game? I didn't really get to watch much of your show because I was doing a show at the same time from the post game. But what'd you think of the game? Obviously, a win's a win, so we got to say that first things first. But obviously, there's some things to work on for the Vikings.
Yeah, man, definitely. That not converting in the red zone, man. That's like one of the biggest things that we definitely have to fix as an offense, you know? Like leaving those points out there. I mean, this game should have been over a lot sooner, right? It should have been over damn near in the second quarter. Going into halftime, really, it should have been over. Okay. We should have been able to play the second half, coasting, running the ball. But instead, as Vikings, we make it hard on ourselves. We just have to do it, man. It's just like it has to happen. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, a win is a win, though. All right, we're positive. Chris Boyd wants to go on Twitter and try to call out fans. You know what, man? Listen, that dude's a clown, bro. For one, you're focused. You want to run straight to Twitter, but you also need to worry about learning how to play your position at a high level because you're not good at it. But you're really good at Twitter, though. So congratulations. But yeah, a win is a win, man. You know, we gotta take it and be good, man. When's the last time we were 2 games above 500? I mean, 1 game above 500, honestly. So
yeah, 2 games, no kidding. Yeah, I was actually thinking about that before the game, and I never went back and looked to see when the last time we were over 2 games over 500. It's probably got to be 2019 when the 10-6 record, or I think it was 10-6 that year when we went to the playoffs, beat the Saints. But we got Grandizer getting the Vikings theme song going in here. Skol Vikings.
Let's we've always had to play catch up. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like it's just like, come on, man. But it feels good. It feels good, man. We 3-1. We're going into a game now that I know we're gonna talk about it. But you know, we're going into a game. It should be okay, man. But I actually have a surprise, man. I have a weird feeling, man.
You have a weird feeling. Okay. Let's not waste any time. Let's hear it. What's the weird feeling, man?
So the thing is this, man. When it comes to the Minnesota Vikings, man, they tend to always just do the Vikings thing. And it's like, I mean, come on, man. Like, we should definitely win this game. We all know that as Vikings fans. Look how the Bears are playing. All right. Justin Fields looks horrible. There should be no reason why he should give us a challenge on Sunday. But I have this feeling that Justin Fields will go off as far as running. All right. I think this man is probably going to run. If we play that defense that we play, Justin Fields, I'm calling it. I don't know why, man. I mean, you know, I obviously want to go 16-1 from here. I want to go 16-1 for the season ender because the past is the past. We lost to the Eagles. Obviously, I want to win every game, but I'm going to just let you know. I can't come on here as a content creator and say we're going to win every single game. And for some reason, this is my game where I feel like we are going to drop this game. I'm just laying it out there. I'm doing the videos. I'm going to talk about it. But I think Justin Fields is really going to rush for like 100 yards and like 2 touchdowns, bro. I don't think we're going to be able to stop them on the ground. I don't.
Yeah, I think we're gonna at least lose one of our next 2 games. I don't know if it'll be this week, and I know that Tua's probably out against the Vikings next weekend. But we know Teddy. We know he can ball. We know he can play football. So I think we're gonna still go 4-2 into the bye week. It could be this one. I think if we do lose this one, I do think we'll win in Miami, though.
I hope so, because I'm gonna be there.
Yeah, that's right. You and Dave are going to be there.
Yeah.
That'll be fun for you guys. So, but yeah, no, it does kind of have that feel a little bit, especially the way the defense is played at times. Obviously, we saw what Jalen Hurts did on Monday Night Football, and so yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the Vikings can get him contained or not. You got a new haircut there, Rap?
That's what they saying. Yeah, man. I mean, it's just, tightening up the face and stuff, man. And the camera, obviously, y'all see this is a different setup. I'm using my little mobile setup here to tap in with my boy Carson, man. Quick notice. Already had the laptop downstairs, mic downstairs in the closet.
He's
just
ready.
Pulled it out, set it
Plug
up.
And play.
Plug in the gaming headphones, just in case anybody want to get on that Call of Duty or anything, man. Let me know, man. I'm with all the smoke,
You multitasking. You could probably throw on Call of Duty while you're talking to me.
Yeah, man. A little bit of Madden, a little bit of Madden, something.
That's right. That's right. Well, I'm just going to talk a little bit about Justin Fields here because you mentioned him and, he's not been playing very well. Let's just call it what it is. And I'm interested to hear Larry's thoughts on Thursday. It sounds like we'll reschedule but he's not playing well. And I told Larry at the beginning of the season in our Bears preview is I don't think they've surrounded him very well with weapons either. So that's not helping him out by any means. But also the offensive line's not great. So, yeah, it's not a great situation for Justin Fields, but he's not performing either. So now it's like I kind of could be on the same page with you because this could be the game where he's coming out. Like it's his coming out party for the season kind of a thing.
Yeah, definitely, man. I just got that feeling, man. I just, the Vikings, of course, they're going to do this to us at least once this year. We know that. You know what I mean? We know that. Whether it's the Bears, whether it's the Jets, and I'm talking about teams that we obviously are favorites in and we know we should win. All right, we should wake up on Sunday, feel good, like, all right, we got a dub. It's going to be one of those games. And Sunday coming up is one of those games. I mean, the Bears have been playing, like Carson said, horrible. Justin Fields in particular been playing super bad, but yet for some reason, the Vikings will find a way to make him look really elite on Sunday. I just have that feeling this Sunday, man. It's hard for me, man. It hurts my stomach to think that this might be that trap game. But, I got to pick one throughout the season. And as the season's progressing now, we're kind of getting more of a feel. It's a little easier to kind of predict these games and figure out what's going to go on. And I just think that this is one of those ones, man. The good thing is we're playing in the bank, man. So hopefully we can put some pressure, but we tend to struggle with quarterbacks that run around, and that's why I thought we were at an advantage playing
Andy Dalton.
Even though I feel like Winston turns the ball over a little more. I was like, his feet could hurt us, but I mean, at the end of the day, we got the win, so we're happy about that. But Justin Fields is a different animal, though. Honestly, like he might not be playing well, but by far more athletic than both of those guys I named. So.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny to me. Like, part of me is like, maybe the Vikings avoided the trap game loss the last 2 weeks by barely escaping with wins. So maybe now this week will be the week where they put it all together offensively. And I'm still skeptical that they'll put it all together defensively. But if the defense can do just enough to keep Fields, contained, I think if the offense can score like we know they are capable of, we know they have the talent to do. Let's see if they can put it all together now in this new Kevin O'Connell scheme offensively. And, something that somebody mentioned the other day on the Fan Express line was that, this defense, or maybe it was under the lights last night, but this defense is still being implemented too. Like these players are still learning the defense. Like it's not
Yeah.
just it's just a new offensive system. It's a whole new system, which is maybe even a little bit more impressive that they are 3-1 at this point, considering all the newness that is on the Minnesota Vikings right now.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Somebody said something about the defense, though. I think we might be close to our peak. Like, I don't know if I don't know, man. Maybe if they put I think Daniil Hunter's the X factor. I think we might need to put his hand back in the dirt, man. I think his hand needs to go back in the dirt. I'm gonna just be honest with you, because we can definitely see some more productivity out of him. But the offense, I feel like definitely hasn't reached its peak though. So
Yeah.
we definitely got something there we can open up, and we haven't seen the best. We haven't seen the best of the offense yet. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what we can do. That's a good thing. That's a good thing, knowing that we haven't really unleashed everything. These guys are learning. Everything's brand new. So we kind of got to give them a couple weeks. And I think now it's time though. Like we're going on week 5. Okay. These grown men, they've been studying months ago on this stuff. So, I mean, it's time to show it, man. Come on, man. Show us something.
Well, something that has been performing up to par is the special teams unit. They have been a top 5, top 3 type of special teams so far, I think, this season. Daniels is just a heck of a coach. He is probably not going to be here for very long. He's going to get a head coaching job sooner rather than later. Maybe this year, probably for sure the year after. But he has just got these guys playing really well. He's empowering the kicker for once. We've got a coach that empowers the kicker, Kevin O'Connell too, but Daniels as well. Like they didn't doubt Joseph, and that final kick. They're like, "Hey man, we knew you were gonna make it. Get out there, go do it, man." Like Mike Zimmer would have been like, he would have
Yeah.
probably been like, "You're fired" or something.
Yeah.
So I think Mike Zimmer just kind of just didn't once you made a mistake, like your head was cut off, kind of almost. It
Yeah,
was
for sure.
it was really not a pretty sight, and I think that's why a big reason why they made the change. And that's one thing too that somebody was talking about, how the tenseness, like in those situations on Sunday when the Vikings would have been tied, like they were, like the tightness from the coach almost rubbed off on everybody, I think too, where like obviously you're probably tense already in those situations, but then
Right.
when your coach is tense, like if you screw up one time and the coach is going to be upset at you, and then you're even more tense than normal. So I think the fact that Kevin O'Connell is playing a little looser with that situation, or at least he's coaching a little looser in those situations, knowing that Kirk can go down there and make those throws that he made these last couple of games, and that's huge. I think that's a
Yeah.
big reason why this team is 3-1.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. We gotta say this, man. Kirk hasn't been having his best year so far starting out.
Right.
As we look at it, it's been a month of football. He hasn't been having his best year, but look what's happening though. We're winning.
Yep.
We're winning though. So like, you got some of these people, man. They want to sit there and they focus on his stats. It's all about his stats, man. F his stats, bro. As long as we're winning, I'm good. You know what I mean? Because if this was switched around to 1-3, it would be a whole nother conversation we would be having right now.
Yep.
Especially, and it doesn't matter if Kurt was throwing 300 yards every game and 4 touchdowns every game. If we're 1-3, what does it matter? You know what I mean? What does it matter? It matters nothing. So I like the way it's happening. At least he's coming through in the times that matters. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
he's playing a regular game, and then when it's time to put the dagger in him, he's doing it. So, hey, I love it. You know what I mean? I love it. I have nothing bad to say about how we're operating right now, other than, red zone offense, man. We need to put more points on the board. If we're in the red zone, we need to try to put it in. You know what I mean?
And I think that's an answer right there to one of Grandizer's questions here. One of the 5 keys to beating the Bears is putting the ball in the end zone.
Yeah.
Got to score in the red zone. We have to score in the red zone this week.
Yeah.
So I was telling Dave, I was actually pretty emotional during the game because I was so upset that they were not putting the ball in the end zone. I was getting upset. This is the first time I've probably been this emotional in a Vikings game since 2017, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah,
And so that's just kind of how the Vikings have felt to me the last few years. So it's good to finally kind of get that reinvigorating love of the team, I guess, or at least, because I was just kind of numb to it at the after a while,
yeah, yeah.
like the feelings. It's just like, I'm not going to invest in this team because I know what's going to happen. Now
Right,
that you got a
right.
new coach, now that you got a new coach in there, you got a new system, and you got these new coaches. It's kind of reinvigorated that, at least for me.
Yeah, for a lot of people, man, and excuses are out the door now. You know what I mean? You got your offensive minded coach. Our O line is playing at a level that it hasn't played in a long time. We could finally say we have a decent O line. As far as the offensive side of the ball goes, man, the excuses are out the door. You know what I'm saying? It's time. It's time to be high powered, like we should. I mean, we have the personnel to be high powered. All right.
Yep.
So that is one of the keys for sure is scoring, like Carson said. When we get in a red zone, we need to put up 7, man. 3 is not going to work. Although the Bears, I mean, you obviously don't have to score a ton of points to beat them from what they're showing now, just based off of what they've been showing. I think you can beat the Bears with 21 point with 3 touchdowns. Honestly, I think you can. But this week, just, as a Vikings fan, I just feel weird about it, man. I just feel like we're going to struggle with Justin Fields scrambling around like on broken plays too. It's going to be broken
Yeah.
plays where he's just going to be converting first downs and it's going to be annoying. I just got a
Yeah.
feeling.
So that's one of the keys. Red zone offense. Keep going here with Grandizer's question. I think, like you mentioned, containing Justin Fields. I'm not saying you have to keep him under. I'm guessing he's probably going to have at least like 50 yards rushing or something like that.
Yeah.
But if you keep him under 75,
Yeah.
I mean that would be a win, I think. And then also the Bears, stopping the Bears in the running game, just as a whole. Obviously Fields, but also they've got a talented running back with Montgomery, but also a talented backup in Khalil Herbert.
Yeah.
And we know how bad the Vikings' run defense has been this season. It's not been good. So that's going to be a huge key because if you can make them one-dimensional, then you're going to force Fields to do something he's not been able to do very well this season, and that's throw the football down the field.
That's a fact. That's a fact, man. We want to see him throw. We definitely want to force him to throw for sure. That's why the red zone thing, it goes back to the red zone scoring is so important. Because if we can get up by 2 touchdowns, I mean, that puts the Bears in a position exactly where we want them. All right. If we can go up by 14 and we make them throw the ball, we make Justin Fields have to throw the ball. I mean, could you imagine how fun it's going to be out there for the cornerbacks and safeties? Like, I can see picks happening. I mean,
Especially with that offensive line, too.
I'm telling you, like, it can be fun for all of them. That's why. And I know the defense probably has their fingers crossed. Like, please, offense, like, when you get the ball the first 2 times, man, just go down there and put it in the end zone. Because our defense is usually able to get off the field early. At least the past couple of weeks, we've been able to, beginning of the game, especially we're at the bank, so the crowd's going to be loud. I feel like we can get a quick 3 and out on their offense. I feel like we can force them to get a quick 3 and out on the first 2 drives at least. Still rolling off of the momentum of the crowd and stuff. So, but when we do, or force, when we do though, we need to move that ball downfield and score. Put up 2 touchdowns back to back, quick, and then the rest of the game can play out how it's supposed to play out. But again, I don't know, man. I just feel weird about that's my ideal thing of happening, but I feel weird, man. I feel weird about it.
Yeah. The Bears' defensive line, I think, maybe is another key, and I'm interested to hear if you have any other keys you want to mention, Rap. But Robert Quinn, he had a really big game, season a year ago. He had 20 sacks or something crazy like that. And this season he's only got 1. So now are you telling me this is his breakout game? Could it be his breakout game against the Vikings? Or does Brian O'Neill bounce back after a really rough outing in London?
Yeah. And shout out to Robert Quinn, man. He went to high school right around the corner from here, man. He's from my hometown, man. Fort Dorchester High School. Shout out Robert Quinn, man. Much respect to the bro, man. I actually know him, right? We got he's getting older now, you know what I'm saying? He's an amazing player though, man. That's my boy. for sure. But I think we can contain him. I'm not worried about Robert Quinn. I'm really not. I think, I mean, honestly, like
18 and a half sacks last year he had.
yeah, he's a beast though. I give him all his props. He's definitely a beast on that field. He makes his impact majority every Sunday, even though it's not showing this year. I'm sure he's still doing his thing in some kind of way, impacting the games. It's just the situation with the Bears. We kind of all knew this at the beginning, that the Bears were going to be the Bears. I mean, everybody knew this once they hired who they hired at head coach. We just kind of figured like, yo, we got Ryan Poles. He's just like tearing the whole house down to the studs. We're like, yo, this guy is about to single-handedly wreck this franchise for at least a couple of years. But maybe he has a master plan, and I think they're just going to try to compete this year as much as they can. You feel me? I don't think it's going to be anything special, but I still think they can beat us, though. I still think there's a way that they can beat the Vikings, because the Vikings thing to do is we will give up a game like this. You know, I mean, realistically, do you see us sweeping? I think we have a better chance sweeping the Packers right now than I think we do the Bears or the Lions, honestly. Even though I know the Lions are going to be the Lions, I just think the Bears are always going to give us a game to where, and I think it might be this week, man. I don't know why, man. Don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other keys you can kind of think of? I think maybe one thing I'll just mention quickly is Darnell Mooney, slowing him down, because he's their best receiver. And I don't think he's like a number one, maybe not even quite a number two. He's more of a number three.
Yeah.
But, you know, he's the guy that you need to slow down on that passing attack.
Right. Yeah. He hasn't been doing that good, though, with Justin Fields. I know they've been struggling. I actually tapped into a Bears, man. Shout out my boy Skol Mafia, man. That's my Skol brother, man, for sure, man. Me and Skol Mafia, like, man, we like that for real, bro. I'm my boy. But like I tapped into a Bears podcast, man, and they were complaining about how Darnell Mooney's just having a horrible season, and they think he did a lot better when he had Mitch Trubisky at the helm. I think Justin Fields is a little better than Mitch Trubisky, but I think his ceiling is higher.
His ceiling's definitely higher.
As of now, he's not better than what because when Mitch Trubisky came right in, he performed better than what Justin Fields has been showing lately, honestly. And I tell Bears fans that all the time, like, y'all tripping. Like, Mitch Trubisky actually did things for the Bears, man, believe it or not, which is weird that they didn't keep him and just get rid of the coach. But on another note, you know, I think another key, man, we'll answer this. On another key, I think special teams. You know, Greg Joseph, just get that confidence back. I know he missed an extra point on Sunday, which could have came back to bite us, honestly. Like, it really could have. If he wouldn't have missed that extra point, you know what I mean? That field goal, that double doink wouldn't have mattered. You know, they would have had to put it in the end zone. But, you know, just make sure he gets his confidence back up. We don't want to go through a situation where he's missing every game, at least missing one, you know what I mean? Because then that's not good. You know, we want to make sure he's knocking those things in. And I seen a video, the broadcast showed Patrick Peterson go over there. I don't know if you've seen that, where he was kicking at the net. Pat Pete, man, being a leader that he is, went over there, you know, smacked him on the ass. You know what I'm saying? Smacked him on the ass, like, let's go, bro. You got this. You know what I'm saying? Like, so good to see that leadership that Patrick Peterson's bringing to the squad, man, you know, and giving him his confidence, you know what I'm saying? So,
yeah,
he knocked it through to win it for us pretty much, you know what I mean? That last field goal. So, but I just want to, you know, with the Bears, though, we just got to make sure we capitalize on all special teams, which special teams is by far the best unit we have on this squad. I mean, easily.
100%.
I mean, we almost got to have one of the best special team units in the league. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree. They've been fantastic.
Fantastic, man.
It's been definitely the best part of this team, no doubt about it.
Shout out to the special teams, man.
Absolutely. We've got to give them some love, even though I would rather it be our offense that's the best part of the team. But, you know, hey, we got to give them love, man. We got to give them love. And maybe it'll be changing it by the end of the season, hopefully.
It's like, what's the best part? What's the best unit on your team? Special teams. Yeah, special teams.
That's right.
Hey, but it is important, though. You know what I mean?
It is.
We don't want to take anything away, man. Special teams can, you know,
could easily be 1-3 without special teams.
True indeed. So,
Yep.
Shout out them guys, man.
Any other thoughts from you on the first quarter of the season? I guess defensively, it's not been great, obviously, but I thought they played
Right.
really well in that first half on Sunday. I thought they did. And then,
Yeah.
that the only touchdown that the Saints had in that first half, that's when the Saints had that momentum off the interception by Cousins.
Right.
So, like, I don't really blame them for giving that up, I guess, because they had great field position,
Yeah.
but the rest of the first half, I thought they played well. And then obviously the meltdown in the second half. But again, like, the offense didn't punch it into the end zone in that first half, and that's why we
Yeah.
ended up being in the situation we were in.
Exactly. Exactly. So, it's hard to blame the defense for these games, man, because even the Eagles game, for example, I mean, the defense is giving the offense opportunities. You know, when you're out there majority of the time, bro, you're gonna get tired, man. Like we can't expect the defense to play snap after snap after snap as the offense is just going 3 and out or just gaining
Yep.
one first down and then punting again and the defense running right back out there. Like, man,
Complimentary football.
the offense has to, keep the ball moving downfield, man. Get first downs. You feel me? Like, I mean, eventually you will get tired as a defense, and then we got to sit here and say, oh, our run defense sucks, our pass defense sucks. No, them boys just tired, man.
Yep.
Like, that's what it is, because the offense is not holding up their end of the bargain. You know what I'm saying? And it happened like that in the Eagles game, man. They gave us plenty of opportunities to, win that game. It's crazy how many opportunities, as bad as that game looked at the end, it's crazy how many opportunities we had to actually beat the Eagles, man. We can easily be 4-0 right now, honestly.
Yep.
And even with the Saints game last week, I mean, dog, we should have been up 28 to, like, I think we can just say 28-7, bro. I mean, we should have been up. We should have been up. Like,
Yep.
that game should have been that score of that game should have been like 31-14 at most. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it should have been.
Yeah.
But
100%. If you're just joining us, first of all, thank you. And second of all, if you're just joining us, you obviously know that this is not Larry,
yeah.
but it is Rap. He is a Viking guy, so we
Yes,
won't.
sir.
I know there was a little joke from Grandizer that you're representing the Bears now. What's going on here? But
No, sir. No,
there
sir.
it
Can't
was.
do it.
But appreciate him filling in. Larry hopefully will join us on Thursday. He wasn't feeling well
Yeah.
tonight, so hopefully
Yeah.
hopefully he gets back to feeling better before the game, because he's probably not going to feel pretty well after the game, so hopefully.
Yeah, man. Carson got us winning that game easy, man. What's the score you got, Carson, man? I want to hear it.
um that's a good question. I've thought about it a little bit. Let's say 31
Okay.
31-13.
Oh, wow.
31-13.
We talking like a Seattle Seahawks last year type of game, right? Didn't we
Yep,
beat them like
we
31-13? I
did.
think it was that
Yep.
31-14 or something. Yeah.
That's what I that's kind of what I expect. Like, that's
Okay.
what we should expect, I
Yeah.
think.
I agree. We should.
Like,
We have the
but
personnel. Our team is way better. That's it.
yeah,
I mean, we just say
it's
that right off the top.
like,
Like,
just look at the Bears roster. Like,
exactly.
literally, look on
Exactly.
ESPN, whatever, wherever you look at your rosters. Like, it is not good. But yeah, I know they're 2-2 somehow, magically.
Somehow. But I think their little momentum of, the season being brand new, they snatched 2 early wins.
Yeah,
I think that's about over. Even though I feel like division game playing us, I mean, there's a chance they can win this game on Sunday. But, as far as them having a successful season, that ain't happening. That's not happening. Okay. And for the people that say that the Lions are going to be fighting for playoff position, stop it. Okay. What we have to realize is this: the Lions always play teams tough, but the facts are they don't know how to win them. All right. They're always in games. They don't know how to win them. And if the Lions are going to be fighting for a playoff berth for the 7th or 6th seed, like some people believe, then the Vikings are in trouble.
yeah.
We're going to be in trouble then if that's the case, if you feel like that. So stop the Lions bull crap, man. I'm tired of hearing about it. The Lions are the fucking Lions, bro.
The Lions are the Lions. The Lions are the Lions. Yep. That is for sure. They lioned again on Sunday, it's
Yeah.
like I said last night on Under the Lights, the greatest strength I think of the Lions is also their greatest weakness, Dan Campbell.
Yeah,
He's the
exactly.
one that ignites them, but he's also the one that makes bad coaching decisions late in games.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
yep.
Exactly, bro.
So, we're going to probably let Rap go here pretty quick. Any
Yeah, because I gotta
questions?
go do it. Yeah, I gotta go tap in with another show, man. But hey, I appreciate you bringing me on. No, honestly, man, I wasn't
Yes,
doing nothing.
sir.
I was just chilling. I'm like always tapping with my boy, man,
Yes,
Carson. You know
sir.
that.
Any quick questions before Rap leaves?
Yeah, man.
Let's see if you got any questions before he leaves.
Well, let me
What's your
give my
score?
score. I was
Yeah, I
gonna
was gonna
say that.
say.
I was gonna say that, man. Let me do my score prediction, man. I'm
Like I'm
breaking
getting
it.
put under the gun. You better be getting put under the
I'm
gun too.
I'm breaking it. I'm breaking it first with you. All right.
All
So
right.
I
Breaking
haven't
news.
told anybody my score prediction, bro, and I'm gonna break it with you. All right. I got the score prediction going
Appreciate
to
you, Skol
be.
Mafia.
The score prediction is going to be the Bears. It's gonna be 24-17, man. Bears win.
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna be hot after this game then.
24. And look, don't kill me, Purple Gang, man. You know what? Like I said, I have to be realistic, and I know we're not going to win every game as much as I want to. I just feel like there is a trap game in there. And I think if any team that's not good can beat us, it can be the Lions or the Bears. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the other easy teams we have on our schedule, like the Jets, I know we got the Jets, and I know the Giants are playing decent, but I can see us beating. We usually win those type of games. You know what I mean? This is the type of game at home, at home too, that will wind up doing something that's crazy and losing,
so
by
so I think
I'm gonna say 20. I'm gonna say 24-20. That's
24
what
to
I'm gonna say.
20.
24-20, man. That's what I got.
Bears.
And if the Bears score 24 points, that's a damn shame. That's a damn
That would be
shame.
a shame. That would be a shame. That is for sure. That is
Yeah.
for sure. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was gonna what was I gonna say now? Um yeah, if they score that many, well, I mean, not that 24 is like an awful amount, but if they score more than 3 touchdowns, like I'm going to be
Yeah.
very disappointed.
I'm telling you, man.
Like
I'm
even
telling you.
honestly, even more than 2 touchdowns, I will probably be a little disappointed, but
But I
I
can
wouldn't
see
be
it.
surprised.
I can see it happening though, man.
Oh yeah.
It actually like sucks. Like this week sucks thinking that I actually think the Bears might beat us, man. I
Yep.
almost like don't want to do content creation with like collabs. I mean, I want to obviously do my channel, but it's almost like I don't want to collab because I really feel like that. And it's like, yo, do I really want to give these guys a big head by telling them on Friday that I think their Bears are gonna beat us
Hey, then the victory will only be sweeter when we
when we win?
win.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no man, I'm kind of like I don't know. I just don't think it's going to be like that. I'm not saying that it won't
Right.
like even though I'm saying 31-13, could we win another one possession game?
Right.
Absolutely. I could definitely
Yeah.
see that happening, but
Yeah.
I just don't think we're going to lose this game. I really don't. I hope you're wrong and I know you
I
hope
hope
you're
I'm
wrong.
wrong too. Yeah, I
Yeah,
hope I'm wrong.
but
Definitely. This
but
is
yeah,
just a
this
prediction, but I hope I'm wrong.
it sounds like
Definitely.
the feeling I had against the Eagles.
Yeah.
That's kind of and you were kind of hey Dave,
Yeah.
you were kind of riding on your high horse after week
Yeah.
1. I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
We were all hyped.
I'm back down to
I,
earth now.
I had to slow the roll for everybody after week 1. I had to say, let's slow down here. Let's calm down. It was week
Yeah.
1. It was the Packers. Nobody had film on us yet. Like,
Right. I'm definitely
but
back down to earth for sure.
all
But yeah,
right.
man, I gotta get out of here, man. I
Yes, sir.
appreciate you again, Carson. I got 10 minutes, man. I gotta make me a
All
sandwich real
right.
quick before I know Dave's waiting for me. So
Appreciate
hey,
you filling in there, Rap. Really appreciate it,
appreciate
man.
it, bro. You know that, man.
Catch you later,
All
bud.
right, bro.
All right. Now we got Tony coming in here. Tony, you with
How
me?
you doing, sir?
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good. We had some technical difficulties
Yesterday?
yesterday, so I
Yeah.
figured, I'm gonna go camera off just to be safe because
Okay.
I'm back in my office, and I think, maybe we'll get some better connection with just looking at my beautiful nose and eyes.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, that's work. That works, man. That works. So you were telling me before the show that you have some stats and things you want to go over. So let's talk about that. First of all, let's get your thoughts on the first quarter of the season.
Sure.
What do you think through 4 games? Obviously 3-1. Not perfect. Not perfect with the record, but also not perfect on the field. But 3-1 is 3-1. They're winning games. They're not pretty wins, but they're wins. And that's something that didn't happen last year. It was a lot of ugly losses. I'll take ugly wins. We'll take them for days. If they win the Super Bowl ugly, I don't care. They won the Super Bowl, you know what I mean? But obviously, we do want to see improvement because, some of these things that they've struggled with could eventually lead to a loss. So, we got to be able to, poke some holes into this 3-1 start as well. So, what are your thoughts on the first quarter of the season here?
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. I think that we felt, at least for me personally, kind of walking through the games, obviously, I think as a Vikings fan, we all felt great after week one. Week one, we were all riding high. I think everything that we would have wanted to see from our ball club, certainly I felt like we saw that, right? The offense looked dynamic. Certainly we seemed to be scoring at will. I thought that the defense looked at least improved versus what we saw from the previous year. Even let's say the previous 2 years, if you want to go back that far. So, I think we were all riding high after week one. Certainly, we felt like we were crashing down to earth in week two, where we certainly were exposed for some of the shortcomings. At least we had at that stage. I'm not saying that the week 2 Vikings will be the same Vikings we see in week 14 or 15 or thereafter. But certainly there was work to be done, and I'm sure, we probably had an overabundance of confidence coming off of that Green Bay win, and as we found out, Philadelphia is a pretty darn good ball club. So, we felt bad just because the matter in which we lost. It was prime time, which as a Vikings fan always stings just a little bit more. So, not feeling great against the Eagles. I didn't feel great about the win against Detroit. And I would say the same about the Saints. However, I would also say that, I felt like we improved from week 3 to week 4. And ultimately, I do feel like this ball club's on the right track. I just think that we need to be more consistent. And I know that's been kind of a common theme over the last year or so. But I do think that there is a high upside to this team. 3-1 certainly is not a bad start. That's a very good start. So certainly happy with our positioning. It's just making sure that we have enough consistency to continue at this pace. So,
Yeah. Well, let's dive into some of your stats then, man. Let's talk about some of the stats you've got. From is it just kind of from this past week, or was it from the season? What do you got?
no, just what I'd like to do is kind of look at, because I heard a little
Too evil
bit.
to hope.
What's that?
Welcome in Too Evil to Hope here. What's
Oh.
going on, man? Glad you're in here.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to have anybody that joins. And you're gonna love this part because I'm gonna get real nerdy. No, I'm just
All
kidding.
right.
We're just
the nerd is here.
because it gives us the ability to view statistics in a way that might help us just kind of figure out what we might see next week.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it, man. Go ahead. You with us still, Tony? All right, Tony, are you there? All right, man. We will. Looks like he's having some technical difficulties there. We are gonna try and get him back on here.
There we go.
Oh, there you go.
Hey,
He's back.
Hey,
He's
there we
back.
go.
All right, let's
Back
go.
in action.
All right.
Yeah, I just won't move. No, all right, here we go. So taking a look at what I like to do is, because this is just something I do for daily fantasy football. Certainly, we can talk about that at greater length at a different time. But I track defensive statistics for every team every week, and I look at the averages. And I think this gives us a good idea as to what teams may or may not try to expose from a week-to-week standpoint. Then, of course, we can get in the context of who they've faced and things like that. But just taking a look at our statistics. So let's talk about our Minnesota Vikings. So our Minnesota Vikings defensively right now, we are giving up an average of 20 points. We're giving up an average of 131 yards on the ground, about 179 yards just to wide receivers a game. And we're a little weak against tight ends. That's been a little bit of a weak spot. We're giving up about 60 yards a game to tight ends. And we're okay against pass catching running backs. Overall, we're giving up about 407 yards of offense a game, which is not super awesome for our Minnesota Vikings. From a touchdown standpoint, where our weakest spot is giving up rushing touchdowns. We're averaging giving up almost about 2 rushing touchdowns per game. So if we're looking at what Chicago can do or potentially how they may attack us, where I have concerns isn't certainly Justin Fields. I think most people wouldn't anyway, but it's David Montgomery. And they do like to use him quite a bit. There is that read option threat with Fields and Montgomery. So for me, just looking at some of the statistics, I think they're going to go super heavy on read option with Fields and Montgomery, and that's where we have to be worried this next week.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of that with Jalen Hurts, I think. There was a little bit of that. So obviously the Vikings haven't been great at that. But so you said 179 yards on the ground. Was that right?
179 just to wide receivers every week.
Okay, just to wide receivers. And then how much on the ground? 160 something?
131.
131. Okay.
Yep. So
yeah, so they're getting just from the ground game and to wide receivers, they're getting over 300 yards. Is that right?
Yep, about 310, yeah.
And then you add the tight ends, 60 yards, and then how much was it for the running backs in the air?
38.
So almost 400 yards. So that's not good. That's not good. But as you stated, it seemed like there was some improvement last week compared to the previous weeks.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, here's where we can balance a little bit. So Chicago's offense, I'll let you take a guess. How many yards do you think Justin Fields is averaging to wide receivers each week?
I'm going to say 100.
62.7.
Oh my gosh. I should have went lower.
Yeah, 62.7 yards on average he is passing to wide receivers. I mean, it's ugly altogether. Actually, here's a fun fact for you that you might not get anywhere else. Chicago is averaging only 99 pass yards total a game.
Wow.
Yeah. They are averaging a pretty hefty 186 yards on the ground. So again, where I'm worried about Chicago is not through the air, which I think in a way almost plays to our strength a little bit. I don't mean so much that I think our run defense is that great. I just think that we can be kind of weak against the pass. And if we can sell out against the run, I mean, look at the way our teams used to play Adrian Peterson with all the people in the box. So I would hedge to bet you see a very aggressive and a very, tight coverage look from your Minnesota Vikings this weekend, because I don't think they fear the pass at all, and they shouldn't.
My dad says it's a division game. It's going to be closer than 31-13. And Rapp, if you were hearing Rapp said that he thinks the Bears are actually going to win this game. We'll get Tony's prediction in a little bit here, but Tony, any other statistics that you're wanting to go over defensively, or do you want to move to the offensive side?
We can move to the offensive side. I think that ultimately
maybe a little better.
Yeah, I mean Chicago. This is the thing. Chicago's also pretty pretty weak against the run. So I would say that if we're looking for any big game, and I kind of thought we might have seen this already, but this is the week we should see Dalvin show out. I mean, I was all in on Saquon this week playing Chicago, and I thought to myself, they're going to do the same thing where they're just going to sell out and play Saquon, force Daniel Jones to beat him, and they still couldn't. So the fact of the matter is, Chicago is giving up almost 200 yards a game on the ground. I think if there's any week in this young season that we may see Dalvin have a Dalvin week, it's going to be this week. So he's one of my fantasy locks. If you want to throw that in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's not a bad idea. And it's interesting. The Bears, like I was telling Rap, like the roster, if you look at their roster, it does not look good. Like it really does not look good at all.
Yeah.
other than like 5 players, maybe 5-ish players, maybe add 1 or 2. So like that's a fourth of their starters that are, starter quality or caliber, I would say. But too evil to hope. What do we got? The Vikings definitely play down to their opponents. That is true. It's in the Vikings instructions, which is passed on year to year. This was lost for one season when Favre arrived and hit it. Love the accent there. Too evil to hope. Good stuff. Yeah, it does seem that way, but I think this is the week it's going to start to click, and there's not a better opponent that you can ask for it to click against because, like we've been saying, they have not been good. I mean, they're 2-2, yeah, but they haven't beaten anybody that like makes you go wow. I mean, other than San Francisco, and that week 1 was kind of like San Francisco didn't know what the Bears were doing. There was just an absolute rain shower that kept going throughout the whole, or for at least through the second half of the game or whatever it was. So I'm not buying the Bears yet. I'm not buying them. And I mean, I could be wrong, and we could lose by, a slight margin. But I think our 2 close games that we could have lost, that could have been trap games that Rap was talking about, I think those were the last 2 games, and we were able to win those games.
Yeah. Well, I just think you're exactly correct. I mean, just looking at the games here, San Francisco was a slop fest, and that game was still a tight game during that Trey Lance experiment. That
Yeah,
I
that's
know
right. And it wasn't Jimmy G that started that game. Yeah.
it was not. It was not. And then they play Green Bay, pretty handedly lose. Then they play Houston, and they win. But boy, they gave up 20 points. I mean, over 300, almost 340 yards total
Davis
offense
Mills,
to
baby.
Houston. And then the Giants they lose to and just give up a boatload of yards. They gave up 262 total yards on the ground to New York.
Jeez.
Yeah, so I
Crazy.
just think again, if this is just a game for Dalvin to take over, hopefully, I would actually my opinion is I think we see maybe a big game from Dalvin and probably even a decent game from Madison, just even in spot duty where he comes in and relieves Dalvin from his 150-yard 2-touchdown game he's probably having.
Yeah. Yeah, the Niners definitely look better now, and I think they got off to a slow start for a lot of reasons. But yeah, Trey Lance being in there instead of Jimmy G, like I thought Trey Lance had the talent, and I still do think he has a lot of talent, and maybe it'll take more time. Hey Vic, appreciate you stopping in here. The Eagles man, the Eagles content creator. I've did a show with him during the Minnesota Vikings debacle in Philadelphia. But yeah, the 49ers are looking better after that week 1 loss. And I don't think it would be that close if they played the Bears again, to be honest with you. But
no, I would agree with you.
I really hope we can trade the Hitman before the deadline. Interesting. Like I don't know if I want to trade him if we're battling to be good in the playoffs. Like that's my thing. Like if you're trying to get to the playoffs, that's somebody that you need on the defensive side because we've seen how bad this defense is. But I mean, if your argument is this team's not winning the Super Bowl, so why don't you just trade him? I get that. Like, yeah, I don't think this team is winning the Super Bowl with how bad the defense is. And but at the same time, I think they can win a playoff game. I do think they can win a playoff game. And now, do you hinder your playoff opportunities by trading Harrison Smith? Or do you think that, the way that Josh Metellus has looked and, it's been kind of an up and down start to the season for Cam Bynum. Like, do you think you have the firepower on the back end to replace Harrison Smith in a trade, which Kwesi might think so. And, if it's a competitive rebuild, don't forget that word, then you might think of trading Harrison Smith for a third or a second round pick. I don't think you're getting a first for him.
Yeah, I saw some rumor mill out there, or some words out in the rumor mill, if you will, that Alexander Mattison may be up for a midseason trade now that we've had some injuries at the running back position throughout the league. And I just don't know if I'm buying it. I think that while I do think that we have some talent behind Dalvin Cook outside of Madison, I just think with Dalvin's shoulder in the status that it is, and to your point, if we really think we could make a playoff push or a run, I doubt the team pulls a trigger on that just because we don't know. I mean, if Dalvin takes another shot to that shoulder, now, he could be missing multiple weeks. And I don't know if we want, Chandler or Wongwu out there with,
I
having
think
to
Chandler
fill in
can
and no
play.
Madison. Oh, I think I loved what I saw in the preseason. I think that what scares me a little bit with Wongwu and Chandler is that they both are a bit of smaller backs, and they are not quite as north-south runners like we see with Madison and Cook. And that scares me a little bit because you need to have that. You need to have somebody that can pick up, a couple yards when you need it. And I think both of those guys are really dynamic, but they're not bulldozers. And I think that's why we love Cook so much, because when he's healthy, he can kind of do both. I mean, he can be very elusive, but he can also run north and south. And I think Madison's probably, in my opinion, a somewhat less good version of that. But the other guys I absolutely love. I think they even bring a little bit more of that Chester Taylor to the table, if I want to name drop past Vikings back, than we've had for a while.
How dare they draft Adrian Peterson? They had Chester Taylor.
That's right. Hey, we had Leroy Horde. Come on.
Yes, that's right. Leroy. Leroy. Yes. But no, I was actually one of those people. When they drafted Peterson, I'm like, why would you do that? You got Chester Taylor. Well, look at me now. All right. Here's what Vic's got to say. Vikings are a very good team. Just takes time to come along. But I will say it's time the Vikings focus on drafting a quarterback in the next draft. 100%, man. I agree.
Yeah.
They need to find the replacement for Cousins, whether it's next year or the year after. You got to find the replacement for him, because I don't want to be going into a season once Cousins is gone. Oh, we got to draft a quarterback. Boy, I hope he plays well. I want him to be able to sit behind Kirk for a year and, learn to either play or not play, depending on your view of Kirk Cousins, I guess. Don't play as bad as Kirk or play as good or better than Kirk. Hopefully better, but I agree. Vikings have to look at that seriously this upcoming draft, which is why I was so adamant that they get a first-round pick back from the Lions in that trade last year. If you're going to trade with your division rival 20 spots in the first round, you make them give up a first-round pick. Like, why did they not make them do that? Like, that was so mind-boggling to me. And now, if you would have had a first-round draft pick to go along with the one you already had, you could have piled that together in a trade offer to a team and said, hey, I want to move up to the number 5 spot and draft whoever the quarterback is that fell there, or maybe even trade up to number 1 if you feel like the quarterback you want is probably not going to be there after the first pick. But obviously that's going to be a lot harder to do now.
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think that the Kirk Cousins experiment, while I would be hard pressed to categorize it as poor or bad. Um, I just think that it has not met expectations. And I don't think that's a hot take. I think that most Vikings fans, even some of the, bigger Kirk Cousins loyalists would agree with that statement. Because at the end of the day, the bar uh, for success is at minimum a deep playoff run. And obviously the hope would be Super Bowl. So, um, while I think that Kirk has probably earned and some of it unearned some of the criticism he's been, given over the past however many years he's been with us now, I do think that it's time that we start to look towards the future. And unless we see something in the last three quarters of this season that tells us that the combination of Kevin O'Connell and Kirk Cousins could be some, lightning in a bottle, like we saw with Stafford and McVay. Then I do think, yes, we do need to look towards the future. And even regardless, I think that that could maybe delay things. But we should, even if, let's say, the Vikings win the Super Bowl this year, as crazy as that would be, I still think they should start that process of trying to draft and develop, because the last person we tried to draft and develop was Christian Ponder, and we've talked about that enough. So
He's pretty good, right? All right. Interesting comment here again from Vic. The Vikings, I see the Vikings in the same position as the Eagles were last season, with a young coaching staff coming along, a defensive coordinator who does not make adjustments when they need to be made. I think he's onto something right there. That's kind of what we've seen through 4 games so far. Would you agree with that, Tony?
Yeah, I don't disagree. And I think we talked about this on Sunday. One of my concerns was I felt like our defensive game plan was that they were going to air it out. And if that's the case, then what were we planning for? And not to say Dalton isn't capable, but were we planning or game planning for Winston? And then all of a sudden Winston's out. And then it's not, we're just going to stick to the same game plan, because we seemed just so soft against the run until they had basically turned us into Swiss cheese. And then at about midway through the third quarter, we finally made some adjustments.
Is that
and then
a Packers joke?
Oh, look at that. Well, we can hope we can turn them into some Swiss cheese.
We already did once.
We already did once. 1-0, baby.
That's right. That's right. Our defense is way too bad to get to the Super Bowl, let alone win it. I agree. To able to hope. You're 100% accurate, unless we see significant improvements over the next few weeks, which, boy, if they don't improve this week from the second half of last week, like, I'm not ready to fire Donatel yet, but boy, I'd be close.
Yeah. I don't disagree. And I think that, one of the issues too, excuse me, is that, we also have, with Scene being out. I thought this was actually a great point that got brought up on Sunday. I believe it was Dave who was with us. And with Scene going down with his season-ending injury, I think that even more so makes Harrison valuable to our ball club, especially from a leadership standpoint, because now we're going to have to try to get Scene caught up to game speed by next season, and it would be nice to have a proven leader on the ball club going into the 2023 season. So, I'm concerned about the defense. I think that, it's just we've got a lot of young guys, and it's either that they're young and they need to come along and it takes time, or they're young and ultimately they're not going to be starters in the next 2 to 3 years. That's kind of to be seen. I'm still waiting for the Cam Dantzler that was sold to me his rookie year in training camp. That this guy was this phenom in camp, and I feel like he got a little bit by Zimmer because Zimmer tends to be a little harder on his players, and it didn't seem like that worked out too well.
Never. Zimmer never got hard on his players, man. Never.
I have one Mike Zimmer story, and I don't know if you have any, but I was at Total Wine in Egan picking up a few sodas, of course,
Okay.
and I was walking into Total Wine, and Mr. Mike Zimmer was walking out, and I didn't know what to say, but he looks just like a thin snapping turtle, so I knew it was him, and I I knew it was him right away. And I looked over and I said, "Hey, coach." And then he was just like, "Hey, how you doing?" But man, he looked at me like he wanted to give me the finger, which was fine. And I'm going to give you a guess. What do you think Mike Zimmer? What do you think Mike Zimmer drives?
A truck, probably of some kind.
Oh yeah, Ford F-350, big tires, and he had a full case of what else? Coors Light. That's
Coors
what he
Light.
Coors Light. Yeah.
Off the red wine that night, huh?
Yeah, it was just the old Coors Light. Yep.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I would have expected wine because that's all we hear about Mike Zimmer is that he drinks red wine. But apparently he was feeling the beer that night. Might have been a rough game or something. I don't when what was that off was the off season or was it during what was it during?
No, that was actually during training camp.
Training camp.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was training camp.
That's when he saw all the players that Spielman brought in was like, I'm gonna need a lot of drinking here.
Yeah, it was after he saw enough of Kellen Mond.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I had to watch him again today. I gotta have some Coors Light here.
Yeah.
Um,
Now we realize how bad it was when Sean Mannion's beating you out for the number 2 spot.
oh gosh. Oh gosh. Dantzler isn't looking great so far this year. I agree. I know that's Raps boy, but he hasn't been looking good this year. He made a couple of nice plays on Sunday. We'll give him credit there, but we need more consistency, and that's from the whole team too. Like the whole team needs to be more consistent, and I do think we're going to see it this week. And maybe it's just me being too optimistic. Usually I'm not the optimistic one. So, but I do think we're going to see the Vikings put it maybe not completely all together this week. I do think it's going to be more complete than it has been the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think this is going to be a good week. What I'm really looking forward to and hopefully to see is the Vikings just really come out and assert themselves, play like they expect to win this game. And I think if they come with that mentality, and certainly if they can get turnovers like we were getting with New Orleans, just for them to start putting up 7 points instead of 3. And I'd love to see them get up early. And, I don't think this is a team that's going to let off the gas. I think in years past, I think that was one of the big, criticisms of Zimmer for many, many of us fans is that, we'd get up by 10 or 13 or some stupid number. And then it was like we went into this.
And then he started drinking his Coors Light.
Then it was, break out the Coors, kick out the heels, just hand the ball off. And I can tell you, I mean, even with only seeing 4 games from O'Connell, I am positive that we will not see that. I mean, to watch him, sending the offense back out with limited amount of time before the half, and as much like my insides, I almost get like nervous. I'm like, what are you doing? Because it's so foreign to me. And then it's like, no, they're trying to make something. They're trying to see if we can get a field goal in 40 seconds, right?
Yep.
And I just think that this team will be, if we can play with some confidence and get a lead, I do think they will be relentless in their pressure. And it'd just be nice to see like a 35 to like 3 game. Like that would be phenomenal. Obviously that probably would include some turnovers, maybe a defensive touchdown. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah, that would be nice. Vic says, I know Vikings fans do not want to hear this, but you need to play Mike Zimmer ball. And I do agree with you on the defensive side. Offensively, no. But defensively, yes. We need to see more of the Mike Zimmer defense from years past, 100%. That is true. We know, that's what we've said before, Vic, too, is like, it's not that we hate Zimmer, like, we maybe hate on him a little bit, but we don't hate him. Like, he did do what we needed him to do when we needed him to do it. He changed the culture of this team. He changed the culture of the franchise. And then it got changed towards the end to not a good culture, which is why we went with Kevin O'Connell, which is the polar opposite of Mike Zimmer in pretty much every way. So I do not disagree, though. We need to see more of the Mike Zimmer hard-nosed defense. That is for sure. So, before we go, any other questions you want us to wrap up with here, Tony, and any other stats you want to mention before we go too?
I think we covered most of the stats. I think ultimately we match up well against this team, and I more or less mean in our favor. I think our strengths play a bit to their weaknesses and vice versa, where their weaknesses are kind of, I don't want to say our strengths, but we're not poor necessarily in certain areas. So as long as we can contain the run and we don't just get eaten alive with some RPO madness, we should be fine. But I'm looking forward to the weekend. I think we've got a lot of great games on the slate, and I think as a Vikings fan, this is an opportunity to spark a really great run. The rest of the games on the slate, I think I saw we have something like the 5th easiest. Of course, it's all weighted by record, so it doesn't mean much right now. But as it stands, we have like the 5th easiest remaining schedule in the league. So I think if we can pull out some confident wins, I could see this Vikings team making a run. My final prediction on the season was 11-6. So and having at least winning the division at that point. So we'll see.
So Vic says, why are Vikings players saying fans aren't supporting them? He's not saying that, but he's saying that if you're criticizing us after a win, this is Chris Boyd, our 6th string cornerback, by the way.
Yeah.
So he probably should be quiet right now. But he's basically said that, we're not we should support them when they're 3-1, or not that. He said we shouldn't be criticizing them when they're 3-1, but at the same time, like, for us as sports people, like, that's our job, or that's what we love to do is, obviously, like we've been saying, yeah, we're glad to be 3-1 here, but there are things that need to be improved. And if Chris Boyd doesn't think there's things that need to be improved, he better look in the mirror real quick, or he's not going to be on this team for very long. Honestly, he's very lucky to be even on this team right now. I thought he was going to be cut before the 53 was finalized, but, I just think he was too wrapped up. He gets too wrapped up in the social media sometimes. He just needs to not be on there as much. Some of these players need to block out the negativity. Like the same thing with Kirk, when Kirk's being criticized on Twitter or YouTube, whatever, he needs to block that out, because, if I was him, I'd be like, I don't care what people are saying about me. Like, I'm just going to go out there and try and prove it on the field. And in the fourth quarter, the last 2 weeks, he's been able to do that. But if you're a player, don't listen to us. Don't listen to us if you're a player. Like, that's 100% correct. Like, you should not listen to the media in terms of what they are saying about you, your fan base, like in terms of what they're saying about you. That's keep on going the way you're going. Listen to your coaches, listen to your other teammates, like that's my statement on Chris Boyd. But
yeah, I think that the whole Chris Boyd issue is, it doesn't bother me that much. I think for me, it's just, he's posturing, I think it probably wins him points with his teammates too. And that's okay. Right. I'd rather have our guys feel like everybody's got each other's back and all that. I mean, that's important to me as a fan, because I think a cohesive team makes a better team. So it doesn't really matter to me as far as the context of it. You already hit it on the head. At the end of the day, it's just criticism. It doesn't mean that we hate the team. It's kind of like, if my parents say, hey, you probably could do this a little bit better, or they say, hey, I did this with you. And maybe you should do that with your kid, and that might help them. I don't take it as like, they're being some terrible person. It's just that they are providing insight or commentary on whatever I got going on. So at the end of the day, I just think it's posturing for the sake of posturing. It's peacocking a little bit for his teammates. And, that's how I took it.
That reminds me of 17 again. Oh my gosh, that movie. Have you seen that movie? It is a pretty funny movie, and I mean, maybe some people don't like it, but I do enjoy it with Zac Efron, and I don't know the actor's name, but it's pretty funny. Anyways, moving on. Bears are terrible, but since we're the Vikings, it's probably going to be close. I don't disagree. Too evil to hope, but I hope you're wrong, and I do. Like I said, I do think we can get to 31-13 on Sunday. I really do. Now, will it happen? Maybe not. But if we lose this game, I am not going to be happy. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Like, obviously, I'm not saying the season will be over if we lose that game, but I'm not going to be happy if you lose to this Bears team. I don't care if they're a division rival. I don't care what kind of things you're going to throw out. Like, this roster is significantly better than the Bears roster. It is not close. It is not close. You go on ESPN and you tell me which roster's better and tell me how close it is, because it's not close. I'm going to tell you that right now. But they are still NFL players, and it is the NFL. Crazy things happen. So would I be totally shocked if we lose this game? No, but I'm going to be upset about it. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah. So, Tony, what are your final thoughts? Give us your prediction. What are your predictions for what's your prediction for the game?
Yeah, I think that the Vikings will win. I think the final score will be 24-12.
23-12?
24-12. That's what I'm going with.
24-12. Okay. Yep. 100%, Vic. You hit the nail on the head. Players should be worried about how they've been playing, not how fans perceive them. 100%. 100%. Vikings defense will look like a top 3 defense against the Bears, probably. I hope. I hope, man. I hope so. Boy, if they could even look like a top, half of the league defense, like a top 15 defense, I'd be happy, because the odds are our offense is going to look like a top 10 type of offense in this game. At least they better. Like I said, I'm going to be on here ripping this team a little bit if they lose this game. I'm going to tell you that right now.
I'm going to save a clip, and I'm going to DM it to Chris Boyd.
Okay. Sounds good, Chris. Love you, buddy. We'll see you when you're on the streets next year. But
there you go.
31-6, Vic says the Vikings. Wow, he's going even lower than me. All right. 31-6.
I love it.
I like it, man. I hope you're right. Then I can give them all the love they need. Give them all the love that they deserve on Sunday. I hope so. But hey, everybody, appreciate you tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe, and, of course, come back on Thursday. That's the plan now for Thursday to be our next live show. We're going to have, hopefully, the Bears Talk Underground podcast host Larry in here, so you can ask him questions about why the Bears are so bad, and don't just hear it from me. You can hear it from him, and maybe he'll be more positive. He was more positive in the beginning of the season, so he might be more positive about the Bears roster than me, which I guess that's fine. We'll see how it shakes out on Sunday, but hopefully he's back with us. He's a fun guy to talk to, regardless of him being bullish on the Bears. We'll give it to him for now. And then, make sure to join us again Thursday. And Tony, hey, appreciate you popping in here as well. And looking forward to hearing more stats in the future as well, man.
All right. Thanks, Carson.
All right. And as always, thanks for joining. And as always, Skol.
Go.